welcome to Oakland Is. I'm your host, Yasmin Michelle. Our guest today is Nigerian native Tunde Okorodudu, and Oakland also considers him one of our native sons. He's lived in the Bay Area for over 30 years, and while in the Bay Area, he's done many endeavors as a union president and a political activist. Welcome to the show, Tunde.
Thank you, Yasmin.
Great.
I'm glad to be here today.
Right, so you were currently back in the Bay Area. Our Oakland Is producer, Jimmy Guy, ran into you. And so we'd like to say welcome back.
Thank you.
And so what have you been doing? What's up?
Well, as you know, I actually retired in 2002, went back home to run for a political office in the office of the Nigerian Senate. I was supposed to be a senator, but you know, they did the George Bush kind of election on me. You know, the one that took the power from Al Gore and gave it to Bush.
Okay, so there's still the election,
in America. You know, they can do it anywhere
Of
else.
course.
However, I'm still glad to be fully involved in politics because my party, which is the leading opposition party in Nigeria, the Action Congress of Nigeria, ACN, is really making a lot of momentum, changing the way the status quo used to be.
And and speaking of that, so tell us a little bit about that. How are they changing the momentum?
Well, first of all, we have been able to take over 6 of the states controlled by the ruling party called People's Democratic Party, PDP. See, they've been there, people have tested them, they've tried them, and they've failed us. And so there's the Action Congress of Nigeria, which is more of like the Democratic Party in the United States compared to the PDP, who act more like the Republican Party.
Okay.
They take care of only the rich people, the commoners. We have to look out for the best interests of the grassroots and the masses. So we have been able to achieve that goal in taking over 6 states. We do have 6 new governors in these states, and I'm from Delta State.
Okay, so hold on. So for our audience, you've been able to take over 6 states. In comparison, and how many states are there overall?
36 states. Right now, our governors are ruling 8 states.
And when you say our governors, your party?
Action Congress governors out of 36 states.
Okay.
We do have other political parties, but we are the second leading party. We have members in the Senate, over 20 members in the Senate out of 109 members. We have over 40-something members in the House of Representatives, which is comparison to the U.S. Congress. So we do have impact, and we're forming coalition with the other minority parties to be able to have a total takeover of the country and transform the society into a country where Africans will fully be proud of.
Okay, so can you tell us a little bit about your party's platform?
Well, my party's platform is very simple. We believe in education, free health care, women empowerment, youth development. We believe in infrastructural development, and we believe in global market. We believe we are not anti-capitalism. We want capitalism with a human face, not just ripping off the people and making profit. We want the people to benefit at the same time the country and the business people to make their own profit too, but everybody has to have a fair share of the national cake.
Okay, and so now, and speaking about fair share, we know that Nigeria is the second largest or the largest?
Well, the 5th largest.
In the country, in the world.
In the world.
But you're the
largest
first
in
or
Africa.
Second, you're the largest company in Africa. And so you got
production.
and Nigeria got its independence in what, around 1960, correct?
Exactly.
Okay. And so moving, fast forwarding since then, the media, I would say, has talked about a lot of the corruption due to the influx of oil. So speak a little bit about that, how it being an oil-rich country and whether the wealth is being shared or not.
We believe those of us in the Niger Delta State producing the oil, we're not getting our fair share, in the sense that there have been a lot of environmental degradation of the area. There have not been real infrastructural development. We don't have high-rise buildings and offices. Our youths are highly unemployed. So we believe that that's not being fair to those who are producing the oil.
And so just can you name some of the major producers of the oil?
Well, first of all, the giant producer number one in Nigeria right now is a US-based Chevron,
Okay.
which has an affiliate, Nigerian Chevron Limited. They produce the highest percentage of Nigerian oil, followed by Shell, and followed by Mobil and several other small oil producing firms, maybe from England and from Europe.
Right, and with that large, massive production of oil, I understand that the natives have just get frustrated and also have become very, very ill from that mass production of oil. I know that some of the Nigerian women had come together on a campaign in effort to try to reduce the impact and also the mass production of oil. So, and speaking of that, so with the situation, the current situation in Nigeria, how are the other surrounding African countries being affected? And you're surrounded by, what is it, Guinea and?
Yeah, we surrounded Ghana, you know, Sierra Leone.
Sierra Leone,
yeah.
So speak a little bit about how those surrounding countries are being impacted with what's going on in Nigeria.
Well, I would say Nigeria happens to be a very large country. We have a population of over 160 million black people, the largest populated black nation in this earth.
On the planet, right.
Planet Earth, and 3-4 times the size of blacks in the United States. But the problem is that we happen to be the big brother. Most other African countries like Niger, Benin Republic, that is the Republic of Benin, Ghana, etc., has been part of our recipients for a long time.
Okay.
Now, although some of them are beginning to go back to their own country to rebuild their country, but Nigeria have absorbed all these citizens, including South Africa during apartheid. We assisted a lot of South Africans go through our university institution. We funded the ANC as a Nigerian government under the military rule then. So we've done a lot for African
It was
brothers,
Nigeria was one of the major countries with the Pan-African movement and the supporting of the efforts of apartheid in South Africa as well.
Exactly.
Right. So when you spoke about earlier about the two parties, with Nigeria being such a large country, there are other parties as well.
Exactly.
Can you tell me why the ACN and
PDP
and the PDP, why are they the two biggest parties in the country, and what are they doing, and what are the differences?
Well, like I was making an example earlier on, the analogy I was making, even though we have over 35 or up to 50 member parties registered, some are just mushroom parties and they don't really make any impact. They don't get more than a few hundred votes in elections. But Nigerian Nigerian electoral system and the country system is patterned towards the United States democratic system. We do have 3 arms of government.
With the sort of England or
no, not
European
most of England.
twist.
It's in between, but we are more patterned towards American system. Of course, we're not implementing it in details. If we have been doing that, perhaps we have less problem. But yeah, we do have all these parties, 2 major parties. The reason why we have the 2 major parties, because most people identify one or the other because of our platforms. The ACN, like I mentioned, we believe in youth empowerment, women empowerment, education, health, infrastructure, development of the mind, and entrepreneurship, up to small business development.
So in other words, there are the 2 parties similar to American and Democrat and Republican, sort of as the 2 major parties.
Exactly.
Okay, and you were just interviewed by Oakland Post publisher and editor Paul Cobb.
Yes.
In last week's, actually you made front page or last week post. Very interesting conversation, interesting interview. In that article, you talked about the party or the group, I would say,
Yes.
that is trying to install this Sharia law in Nigeria. And I'm speaking to that as we were going back talking about the situation in Nigeria. And of course, lately in the news, there's been a lot of coverage about the burning of, I believe,
bombing of police headquarters, bombing of churches.
And churches, and particularly Christian churches, correct?
Even on Christmas Day.
So can you tell the audience about who the Sharia law party is and or group is, and what is their issue?
Well, Sharia group, we call them the Boko Haram. We consider them similar to a terrorist organization. They have some they are fronting for some powerful northern politicians who actually believe in installing Islamic law in Nigeria. Unfortunately, Nigeria is a non-secular state. We believe in freedom of religion. Everybody can practice their religion. After all, some of us believe in the African traditional religion. Nobody's talking about the original religion that Africa had before even Christianity or Islam.
And speaking of that, and just for a second, so with that, is Islam the largest practicing religion in Nigeria? From my understanding, the native religion is
it's more for propaganda. It is a very large religious group.
Okay.
So is the Christians. But there is a very strong minority group which still hold on to the African traditional religion, because all those other religions, as far as I'm concerned, even though I do believe that one God is what we believe in, it's a borrowed religion from other country or continent. The Africans had their own way of reaching God before all this Christianity or Islam came to us. We abandoned our method, our spiritual lineage to talk to the same Almighty God, and adopted other people's system. Then they become conflict. So everybody wants to convert. It becomes a competition. But the African traditional religion doesn't believe in it's a spiritual thing. So we believe we should go back to that and hold on to that spiritual belief and allow government to be separate from religion, because then we will not have this compassionate and emotional problem we're having. A lot of bombing have occurred in Nigeria. Unfortunately, over 2,000 lives have been slaughtered for the past few years. Recent, it's been really tragic. On Christmas Day, I was in Nigeria when people were celebrating a church in part of northern Nigeria, very close to the capital city of Abuja, and bomb blasts wiping out over 60-something people, and that was very, very unfortunate. And we actually, as a party, ACN, condemn such act. We believe that those individuals, unscrupulous elements, politicians who are hiding under Boko Haram to make the Nigerian government under the administration of President Jonathan Goodluck ungovernable, that's not the best method to bring their grievance. You know, they have a grievance, they should go through the democratic process and get it done. Jonathan Goodluck was elected by the Nigerian people.
By the people.
And the Nigerian people do not have what they call rotating of power between the North and the South, just like what was done some time ago in the United States. We believe that whoever is accepted by the people should lead. Jonathan got majority vote. Even some of us in ACN believe at that time that, well, let him be there and continue so that we can have a continuity. And he was elected. Allow him to complete his 4 years. In 2015 or 16, then they can compete against him. But right now, destroying infrastructure, killing people, and committing human rights abuses is not the right way to go. And this is now helping to make the prediction made by some Central Intelligence Agency of the United States, the CIA, about 10 years ago, predicted that at the rate Nigeria is going, it's possible that Nigeria might disintegrate in the next 10, 15 years. And that is by 2015. If we continue in this fashion, we might want to go our separate ways. See, I believe in unity, but unity at what cost? Some people are working while some people are cashing in. So although we are all black people, but remember Martin Luther King said one time, he said, black supremacy might even be more dangerous than white supremacy.
Correct.
So that's what we are facing in Africa. It's not about racism or tribalism, it's about people who hold on to power and want to oppress the other. we are against that. So that's why we in the ACN, we are preparing ourselves for the onslaught of the next election to take over the country and bring everybody united together if we can make it through 2015, because I'm very concerned about that.
Okay, and so when you talked, when you just mentioned about the CIA, have you noticed the influx of the terrorist acts since 9/11 here, or is there a connection or not? What do you think about that?
There are some linkages, you know. Of course, Al Qaeda has been accused of infiltrating into Nigeria. I don't know who is the Al Qaeda. I don't know who are the terrorists, but I just know one thing: cowards fight that way. If you want to fight, come out and fight in a peaceful way. Get your point across to the people. Convince the people to support your platform. Or instead of going around maiming and killing children and babies and women and innocent people, I don't think that's the right way to go. So definitely I'm against it. Of course, the ACN as a party condemns it also.
And so give me, what are your thoughts about the president? As you said, you know, he is the president, and even if folks disagree or whatever, there is a democratic process. So just what are your personal thoughts about the president? Was it Goodluck Jonathan? Goodluck Jonathan,
yeah,
correct.
Dr. Goodluck Jonathan, definitely. Yeah, he's a good man. I mean, he's a peaceful man. I think he lacks enough experience to handle the complexity of Nigerian politics. But, you know, first time in office, you have to really give everybody a chance to find their errors and make amends, and that's what we are doing. We believe that he's trying his best, but there are some people who are making it difficult for him. When the president is after the election is over, we all come together as one country and rally around the leadership of that country so that we can move the country forward, not only for selfish interest, for the people's interest. And that's what we ACN believe in. We're not against the president because he's from another party. We know when the time is right, we'll compete against him. We'll put on the table all his implementation. Did he implement what he promised? If he didn't implement it, then we'll present an alternative, which we know we have capability of doing. But for now, he's the president. We must support him.
We must support him. So, and speaking of that, then our president, President Obama, what are your thoughts around him and the issue that you know, he is unfit to be president, he can't run the country, and those sort of things. Talk a little bit about that. What are your thoughts about that?
About Obama?
About the president, President Obama as president.
Oh, Obama is a dynamic guy. He came into office in a very complex situation. George Bush Jr. wrecked the economy of this country, plunged the United States into double war, and all our money were put into military spending and bombing. Each sortie then was $1 million. You know, you can imagine how many bombs were dropped on Iraq and Afghanistan. All that money, somebody got to pay for it, and the American people are paying for it. So I don't see anybody trying to blame President Barack Obama for not. He's doing his best. In fact, the economy is picking back up. Nothing to do with whether it's black or white. He's the president. The people chose him with all ethnic groups, and he won the election hands down. So the fact remains that he is governed right, considering the complexity of American economy, which was a global situation also. It wasn't just an American situation.
Okay.
I mean,
and speaking of that being a global situation, you have been a drum major, I would say, for human rights and black issues and black activism. What do you see, or what are your thoughts about the situation or the state of black folks, let's say like in Nigeria where you have the have and the have-nots, and in comparison or in contrast to black folks in America? Talk a little bit about that.
Well,
and meaning that we both countries have black presidents.
Yeah, black folks in America haven't really benefited that much from President Obama. President Obama never came to rescue blacks. He said he came to rescue America. You know, although he has to have some sympathy for the black situation, I don't see him doing enough for black people. Oh, I wasn't expecting a miracle, but a lot of people were expecting, wow, we got a black president, so we're going to have a black party, we're going to dance and eat and enjoy. It's not like that. The economy was bad. He happens to be black, and he also has a white blood in him. He's mixed race. He can't do more than what he's doing, just like any other country. It's not easy to govern.
To govern a country,
It's
right.
not easy.
And so with that, what is the...
But there's one thing I'm going to fault President Obama for. You see, the African blood in him failed us when he allowed, although he didn't participate directly, when he allowed for the NATO forces to violate the African airspace under the guise of some NATO organization and infiltrated Africa and bombed Libya to the extent of killing President Gaddafi. Yes, President Gaddafi had been there for long, but that's some countries are like that. How come they're not talking about Saudi Arabia, who don't even allow women to vote?
Correct.
Yet they're the closest ally of Saudi Arabia. America sometimes are hypocritical in the way they do things. Gaddafi's country was a very progressive country. Everybody has housing, they have infrastructure, they had free education, free healthcare, etc. I was impressed. I wish Gaddafi was president of Nigeria.
So are you saying that if you thought that it was hypocritical in that there are human atrocities throughout the Middle East as well as in other countries, but we specifically zoned in
Andrew Young mentioned it, Congressman Andrew Young a long time ago mentioned that America is the highest human rights abusive country in the world. They had the largest number of political prisoners, but they suppressed the media in America also hypocritical. You know, they just paint everything as good. I mean, a lot of black people are in prison. Some of them committed minor offenses that land them in life imprisonment. These are all political prisoners. I think so. And Obama, as a black man, needs to step up and really rescue some of our brothers from prison. Some of them are on trumped-up charges, and they need to be freed so that we can bring our brothers home and rebuild the black community. But Africa also has the same problem.
Right. And so speaking of rebuilding a black nation and black communities all over the world, and particularly in the United States and in Africa, what is the responsibility of black folks, of everyday black folks? What is the responsibility of us to contribute to the building up of our nation?
Yeah, we need to repent from the ways we're doing things. We need to stop drugs. Drugs is a little weapon to destroy black people, and people should not fall as victims. You know, drugs have done a lot to affect our black community. I think we need to embrace education. Our youth need to start taking more classes in science and maths so that the future will be bright for black people, because right now they're not employable. A lot of them are not employable. The Asian community coming up, even the Hispanic community are taking over. I see Oakland, when I drive around, I don't see a particular black community. Right, there is no black, all over, but we see an Asian community, we see a Latino community. Of course, the whites have taken over downtown Oakland. You know, I doubt if we can produce a black city council member from that area in a long time, except it's a real grassroots human rights activist like Congressman Ron Dellums, if we can have that kind of people. But the same thing is happening, you know, racism and tribalism, or whatever you might call it, is an oppression of the advantaged group against the disadvantaged. We abhor it anywhere in the world. So Nigerians, we're fighting it. The ACN is definitely fighting the same thing. That's why I'm here to, you know, intimate our community here, update our people of what we're doing in Nigeria.
And speaking of, go ahead. And speaking of that, so how are you doing that? How are you updating?
I'm doing that with you right now.
In addition to doing it with me, you were also, there is also a newspaper.
Yeah, I did a radio show just last week.
And who did you do, what radio show?
I did a radio show with a community radio, which is on the internet, you know, and I'm expecting a couple of shows with KPFA and some other
Great, radios. And there is also a African newspaper.
Of course.
And what is it called, Wari?
The Wari Voice is the newspaper from my region, which carried my interview, which the Oakland Post read and was very fascinated with, and they decided to extract some of the interviews there and kind of made an excerpt into their
So
own.
excerpts of the interview. So as we're wrapping up, we have about 2 minutes left. As your article in the Post mentioned that you were also here in celebration of Black History Month.
Of course.
And the monument, and you congratulated President Obama.
Of course,
and on the monument, to
Yes.
the Martin Luther King monument
Exactly.
in Washington.
Yes.
So speaking of that, I know you have plans to run for office in your own country, correct?
Yeah, I did run for office before, like I mentioned. I was rigged out. Actually, I've been 8 years in the Senate by now, and of course, I've done a lot of things for the diaspora too. But I'm still focused on that. I'm still involved in politics. I'm a member of the state caucus of the Action Congress of Nigeria in Delta State. Under our leadership, my brother and strong friend, Chairman Chief Adola Okotiebo, who is the state chairman of the party. I'm on his team working to make sure we deliver the dividend of democracy in Delta State.
Okay, and so with the state, I just want to touch on really quickly, what is the connection, or how can we make the connection of, again, Black folks in the United States and Black folks in Africa, particularly with our youth? When I lived in Africa, when I lived in Uganda, I was very struck by the preponderance of video.
Where we used to watch Tarzan a lot in Nigeria, but that's not the issue. Now we have our own movie industry called Nollywood, which produces tons of video daily, and there's enough entertainment on the TV screen in Nigeria. So we portray our negativity and positivity on our own accord, not how other people present us.
Well, great. Well, it's been wonderful having you on the show, and you presented really well, and we'll look to see you next time. And how long are you going to be here?
Well, a few more weeks. I'll do a couple of tour around. I'll be going to Washington, D.C., speaking with some groups, and then I'll come back, and then I might go to Nigeria for a couple of months again.
Well, great. Well, thanks for being our guest, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time, and then giving us the update on Nigeria.
Thank you, Jasmine.
Until next
Thank
time.
you. I'm really
so
grateful.
until next time, we'll see you then.